Hello, ladies and gents. I am Aztec, joined once again by Nero the Hero.
How's it going, folks?
And today, this is something that I've brought up in a lot of past videos. Usually, anytime that I've talked about the PS4 Pro with the Xbox Scorpio, just console hardware in general, I've brought this up. And usually, my buddy Tony's in on this too. We've talked about it a lot, but he could not be here today. Otherwise, this would be a three-person discussion. But that topic is what I call the convergence of console hardware. And what I mean by that is, like, a couple years ago, I was sitting here thinking, like, eventually game consoles are going to go down one of two paths. They're going to become more modular and more PC-like, and they're going to start becoming, just basically PCs, but under, like, the brand name of Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo or Xbox, not Microsoft, but you know what I mean. Or they're going to become more like smartphones, and we're going to see like faster and faster hardware iterations to kind of keep the performance like up to speed with what PCs are at right now. That's what I was thinking. And judging by the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio, we might be seeing them going the smartphone route. I guess it all depends on what they do with, like, the PlayStation 5 or whatever's supposed to come after the Xbox One. Because like a big part of what I'm saying hinges on them maintaining compatibility with the older hardware when it comes to newer games.
Right.
And if they break that, then my theory goes out the window. And they might. I mean, for all we know, something like PlayStation 5 doesn't play your PS4 or Pro games. Tough shit. I think that would be really stupid. Imagine how many people are going to piss off with that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Anyway, I want to know what are your thoughts on this with the whole hardware convergence thing.
Well, I've been PC gaming exclusively for a little over 2 years now. So just the more, so obviously the more I got into just sort of just the whole like PC versus console thing, and so just the more I learned, the more I realized that consoles are becoming more like PCs. So I started gravitating towards that whole, eventually consoles are just going to be PCs just branded as consoles. Like everything else about them is going to be the same, So, and then it's funny because like I'll say this to people and then they'll treat me like I'm like that crazy homeless guy in the corner, like holding up the cardboard sign saying the world's going to end like tomorrow. So, but I mean, just given the fact that, well, I mean, yeah, just from a hardware aspect, just from the fact that consoles are more like PCs than ever, and the fact that PC ports are not only easier to do, but they're actually better now. They're not broke as shit.
They're becoming far more popular too. A lot of devs who never did console games before are starting to jump on with PC.
Right. In fact, I was reading a few things about Sega. They were considering reviving some older IPs and doing more PC ports, which I think is fantastic because I was a Sega kid growing up. But I mean, just given that, like now, I mean, after hearing your theory about the whole more like smartphones and stuff like that, I think that's extremely plausible too. Just from basically because for the most part, most like smartphones have like that kind of uni body sort of design. So like as far as like manufacturing, they tend to be a little bit like cheaper and stuff like that. So they can afford to like make like the Xbox blank, and then like a few years later be like, oh hey, here's the newest one, it has like this and this. You don't have to buy it, but you'll be cool if you do. So I feel like it's going to become, I feel like the console wars and stuff like that, it's going to become more like marketing wars after a certain point of time, just because like just as far as the technology, it's they're just kind of they're all kind of like right there as far as just like they have the technology, they have the power and the ability to do like great things. So it's just like you can only hinge on that whole, well, this is more powerful than that argument for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Whenever I was considering like modularity versus like the rapid hardware refreshes, I started to think about it from the perspective of like, okay, for the longest time I felt like as a consumer I would love modular consoles over like these rapid hardware refreshes.
Right, right.
Because if it's modular, then I can just like replace the bits that I feel need replacing. Well, as much as they would allow. They wouldn't be fully modular like a PC, but they'll probably allow you to replace like certain parts.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I started thinking about, like, as a company, what would make more sense? And I kind of think the rapid hardware refreshes, and I'm talking like every 2 years, that would make them far more money.
Yeah. Especially because if they go modular, then you get into proprietary hardware and stuff like that, and then they have to like make out their own like connections and stuff. I mean, who knows? They may be able to make it like, I mean, how cool? Just a side tangent. How cool would it be to like have the Scorpio come out, but then be able to like upgrade the GPU whenever you want to? How rad would that be?
I would love that because, well, actually, speaking of proprietary hardware, could you imagine like the insanity and probably like the consumer like just rage they started searching for graphics cards and we started getting like console only graphics cards. It's like, it's a 1080 Ti, but it only fits the PlayStation. What the fuck?
That would be horrible. So that like the whole modularity thing is kind of a double-edged sword. Just I don't know, because I mean, there's because I've come across like Apple products, and then there's certain Sony products, they have their proprietary connections. So like whenever I need to like replace something like a charger or whatever, like it's like, oh no, you can only get this. I'm like, god damn it, why?
the Vito was really bad about that. But yeah, this is just why I feel like the whole smartphone thing would be smarter for them business wise. Also, like what you brought up before about how like all of the smartphones have like they basically have the same body. Like they differ a little bit year to year, but it'd be really cheap to just keep manufacturing new models of a console that still play all the same games, just replacing the guts and maybe tweaking the body design just a teeny tiny bit year on year.
Right.
Well, every 2 years or something. I feel like the major problem with that is I don't know if the market of people who buy smartphones and the people who buy consoles, I don't think it's quite the same, since it's like the purpose of the smartphone. It's a tool to help make your life easier and more convenient. I would almost argue, for any Rags fanboys listening, I think Rags is a fucking idiot when it comes to this. I think a smartphone kind of is fucking needed in the modern age, and so is internet access.
Right.
So I feel like the smartphone is a little bit different in this context than a game console is, and you might get like consumer fatigue if you kept refreshing the hardware like every 2 or 3 years. Eventually, they just get sick of it, and they're just not going to buy your shit anymore.
Right. Right.
But then, if that happened, we'd end up back where where things used to be, where it's a totally new console like every 5 or 6 years.
Yeah. I don't know. It's really kind of hard to say, because I feel like either scenario is pretty likely. It's just, I guess it really just comes down to like the numbers and the accounting department. I guess it's like they gotta see like which one's going to be more lucrative for them, and which also, like, again, like going back to the whole marketing wars, just with the way technology is advancing and stuff like that, it's they're going to have to like, it's going to come down to who has the best marketing, not necessarily who has the best hardware. So I don't know. And
who has the best or the most consumer goodwill to spend. That is kind of like it's an immaterial currency with any company, consumer goodwill. And I feel like Microsoft had very little to work with to begin with, and then that E3 2013 happened. And it was a fucking disaster. They're still reeling from that. I mean, they've kind of recovered a bit. They've been picking up in hardware sales and stuff, but Sony's just riding so high right now. But I think it's kind of starting to get away from the main point. Actually, I'm not sure if there's that much more for us to cover on that little theory, except for by saying, like, guys, I'm not saying I'm psychic. I'm just saying this is something I've been talking about for a long time, and I think this is where it's going. It is still, at the end of the day, speculation. Don't, crucify me and call me like a madman prophesizing, like, consoles becoming like smartphones. I'm just saying I see it as being likely.
Yeah, we're just a couple of black dudes on the internet with some opinions, folks. That's all. Not much else to see here.
Well, now you just... Now I can hear the ringing across the internet. Now, anyway, those have been our thoughts on what we call what I call the gaming hardware convergence. Like I said before, I really wish Tony could have joined us. I feel like he would have had a lot to add to this conversation. But hopefully he at least tunes into this. And thanks for coming on, Nero. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, have a good one.
See you, folks.